Hello and welcome to another episode of Laptop Retrospective, and today I'm here to talk to you about a keyboard. More specifically a keyboard and a numpad. So what I have for your consideration today are two products from Keychron, and both of these were personally purchased. This is not a sponsored video, and I'll dive into that in just a moment. So what you have before you here is the Keychron K8 Pro, and then the Keychron Q0. As you might know, I do like a good keyboard on this channel. In fact, one of the keyboards I've been using for a good long while was more of a retro style affair, and I'll compare that against these in just a moment. As one can, I went down the rabbit hole of customizable mechanical keyboards. Realistically, I actually bought these two as more of an experiment for a project that I want to go down the rabbit hole on a little bit more. And the details behind that project are... So with that out of the way, let's talk about how I ended up looking at these items in particular. And the first thing I want to do is actually say a thank you and point you toward a channel called Keybored. And Keyboard is a really good channel in my opinion because it delivers some fantastic content that's easy to digest, easy to understand, easy to compare. And the gentleman that presents it, I think, is just a fantastically fun person to listen to, and was one of the individuals that really sold me on this idea of the K8 Pro. There's a lot to know about mechanical keyboards, and I am certainly not an expert, so if you really want to learn more, I would suggest that you check out his channel. But here are the things that I took away from some of his content. And yes, feel of keys is important, but the sound is actually also very important as well, and that is 100% true. You can have good quality keycaps, you can have good quality switches, but if the case that they're going into is no good, then you actually have a pretty terrible sound and not exactly a fantastic typing experience. And it was actually his channel and one of his videos that illustrated the point that the sound that comes out of the keyboard is one thing, but the sound that actually bounces around inside of the keyboard is another thing altogether. So the K8 Pro is an 80% layout. As you can see, it does not have a full-size keyboard, and that's one of the reasons why I bought the Q0, and I'll get to that in a moment. So the K8 Pro is about 89 to 99 US dollars, depending if you get the bare bones kit or the kit with the switches fully assembled like I did. You can either get white or RGB backlight, and you have your choice of 3 Keychron Pro type switches: red, brown, and blue, which are kind of the classics. Red are your very smooth feeling, brown are your tactiles, blue are your loud clicky things that if you use in the office you might be beaten to death. It's also fully programmable using QMK or VIA, and that to me was something I wanted to explore, because if there's something I wasn't going to enjoy or if I wanted to do any customization, I knew that I would have full access to all of that, no problem. Now the other thing that this is it's very well built on the inside, and that's a bit challenging to illustrate without some accompanying visuals. But what you do is you have foam, you have silicone pads in there, and that really helps create a fantastic sound on all the keys. Speaking of the keys, they are double shot PBT caps, and they have PCB stabilizers. And this whole thing is wireless, so it can work on Windows, Mac, wired or wireless, and all of those controls are seen on the left-hand side of the keyboard, which is fantastic. You also have 2 sets of feet for whichever elevation you prefer, either a higher elevation or, my personal preference right now, a more subtle one. Now, the Q0 does not belong to the same line as the K line, which is one of the reasons they look slightly different. And the build quality on the Q is significantly more advanced and involved. So the Q0 is 79 US dollars built, or $69 bare bone. So yeah, it's pretty near the same price as the K8, which is going to be a turnoff for a lot of people. It comes in black, silver, or navy styled CNC'd aluminum. You have the Keychron Pro red, brown, or blues, and it also is QMK or VIA, and it has your standard layout here, but then it also has a series of what can only be described as PlayStation-style buttons that can be programmed to do a variety of all sorts of different things, and you can have multiple layers. So it's really probably more kit than I will ever fully utilize, and that is a perfectly fine problem to have in my opinion. It's probably one of the best built numpads I will ever use in my life, so why not give it a try? The other thing that this does is that it now means that I can pretty much get any keyboard that I want over on this side of the table and never have to worry about losing my numpad because I always have my numpad. So that to me was kind of worth the investment because then it meant that I wasn't limiting myself to just full-size keyboard options. So let's talk about whether or not all of this is actually worth it. And to do that, I'm actually going to compare it against the keyboard that I've been using at work for a good long while, which I have also featured on this channel, and I'll leave a link over here to it if you want to check this out. Now, this is an interesting keyboard because it's about 89 keys and it has this weird layout where it actually does have a numpad where essentially this cluster of keys would go. And by and large, it worked out okay for me. This keyboard, unless it's on sale, is going to cost you around $49 US. So it's about half the price of this keyboard. And of course, the difference in features is quite vast. This is wireless, this is battery, this is Bluetooth. This is designed to work with Mac and Windows. You have RGB and white backlight options, and obviously the build quality is significantly better. And then this doesn't have any of those things. But the one thing that I think is really important to take into consideration that I can share with you is the look and feel of these are so vastly different. And unfortunately, feel is hard to kind of visualize in a video format. But one thing I can share with you is just even how this thing sounds. Like you can tell immediately the difference in quality. So what I'm going to do is actually detach my lapel microphone here, and I'm going to hold it near some of the keys on both of these keyboards so you can get a difference in just the quality of how this thing sounds, and it is incredibly different. I don't know. If that doesn't make you a believer, I don't know what will. It is just so much of a different typing experience that to me, personally, this is worth paying double for one of these. So we'll put this off to the side for now because we're not really here to talk about that, but I hope that that helps illustrate just how fantastic a device like this is and what a pleasant experience this thing is to type on. Like hitting that spacebar is just massively satisfying, as you can tell. I am smiling while I am doing that. And in terms of speed, the shape of the keys I found absolutely fantastic for errors and speed. When I did my very first typing test on this after using it for maybe an hour, I was already doing about 65 words per minute, which is, you know, okay for me. And then a few hours later, I did another one, and it was 72 words per minute, which is getting pretty close to kind of my, average speed overall, unless I'm doing something exceptionally quick. And I have to say that this, I think, is a great example of paying just the right amount for what you're getting. The enthusiasts out there watching this video who already know everything there is to know about these keyboards, and probably more than I do about mechanical keyboards, will know that you can spend pretty much any limit of money that you want on one of these. And that's fine. But for me personally, it's a law of diminishing returns after a certain point, in my opinion. And that's the trick, is that I don't want to keep paying more money unless I'm continuing to get value. And unless you're chasing a very specific sound and a very specific feel, I feel that for the average user, which I am probably on the cusp of when it comes to mechanical keyboards, simply won't appreciate it. And for me, that was one of the things that I was like, I think this is the perfect point to kind of stop spending money and enjoy the keyboard. And I think that this is a fantastic example of that. If you do have any questions about either one of these products, feel free to leave them in the description down below. And once again, I'll remind you that this is not a sponsored video. I paid with these with my own money. And Keychron probably doesn't even know this channel exists. At any rate, thank you so much for tuning in. And if you did enjoy this sort of content and would like to see more like it, I would encourage you to do the big four. Please like the video, share, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so the next time I get the opportunity to feature a keyboard on this channel, you'll be the first to know about it. And be sure to check out Keyboard's channel as well. Really can't thank that guy enough for all of the fantastic work that he does. Thank you so much, and I will see you next time.